Please be seated. It is my privilege to welcome you to the baccalaureate service for the KCU College of Osteopathic Medicine's class of 2011. Tonight we are given an opportunity to slow down during a chaotic week to reflect on what it truly means to become a physician. I am so grateful to all those that have helped plan this evening, as well as all those that have agreed to participate. Thank you all for joining us and sharing with us in this meaningful moment. It is now my pleasure to introduce the President and Chief Executive Officer of the University, Dr. H. Danny Weaver.
Thank you, Allison. Good evening, and welcome to the class of 2011 Baccalaureate. I speak for all of KCU when I say how glad I am to see so many of you here tonight. As I look over the audience, I see the proud faces of family and friends, proud of the hard work and determination of a loved one who is completing this extraordinary journey through medical school. I see the satisfied faces of faculty, satisfied with the 233 students whom they have mentored over the past 4 years. And I see the confident faces of these accomplished graduates of the class of 2011, confident in their ability to start a new journey with exciting challenges and new opportunities. I congratulate each and every one of you. This week has seen numerous celebrations of the momentous event that will take place tomorrow. This afternoon, at the Honors and Awards Convocation, we recognized and celebrated the scholarly and service-related achievements of many deserving graduates. Tomorrow at the commencement ceremony, we will confer the degree Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, the degree and goal toward which all of you have worked so hard. Tonight's baccalaureate will be special in its own right. Throughout this inspiring service, you will hear an underlying spiritual theme from faculty and fellow classmates. You'll hear about leaning on a higher power for strength, skill, patience, vision, and compassion. You will listen to prayers expressed through music that ask for the qualities and virtues necessary to be a gifted physician. As you absorb each of these messages presented, I encourage each graduate to reflect on these questions. In pursuit of your dream to be a physician, where will you find your stamina? From whom will you seek guidance? And from what source will your strength flow? Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, "The foundation of a person are not in matter, but in spirit." I ask you this: what constitutes the foundation on which you will build your future? Class of 2011, you now enter a patient-centered career where you will hold life in your hands, make critical and sometimes rapid decisions, and take responsibility for each and every step that you make. As you go forward, take time to discern the spiritual makeup of your foundation and go with the confidence that you are a well-trained healer. Again, congratulations to each of you on your accomplishments. Thank you.
Let us vow to understand living beings and their suffering, to cultivate compassion and loving kindness, and to practice joy and equanimity. Let us vow to offer joy to one person in the morning and to help relieve the grief of one person in the afternoon. Let us vow to live simply and sanely, content with what we have. Let us vow to let go of all worry and anxiety and ignite the light in our souls. Let us be aware that we owe so much to our parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. Let us vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly so that understanding and compassion will flower, and that we can help living beings be free from their suffering.
I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. I pray we'll find your light and hold it in our hearts. When stars go out each night, remind us where you are. Let this be our prayer when shadows fill our days. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be safe. A world where pain and sorrow will be ended, and every heart that's broken will be mended, and we'll remember we are all God's children, reaching out to touch you, reaching to the sky. We ask that life be kind and watch us from above. We hope each soul will find another soul to love. Let this be our prayer, just like every child needs to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe.
Thank you, Sharika and John. That should be our prayer every day. Good evening and welcome. Tonight, we take a moment in the midst of great excitement for tomorrow and for our futures to reflect on the past what has led us to this weekend, and what it truly means to be a physician. 4 years ago, on a hot August evening, our lives changed. We were welcomed into a community of discovery and learning, balanced with compassion and service. The choice to become a doctor was easy for most of us to make. But the journey, the hardships, well, that is what makes a physician. When I was asked to speak tonight about what it means to be a physician, I felt very unqualified. After all, just like you, I'm learning. What do I know about what it means to be a physician, and especially great physician? Well, I know that it takes lots of hours sitting in classrooms, countless hours of studying, gallons of coffee, and mountains of debt at the end. 48 million to be exact. We've learned the science of medicine from normal, healthy physiology to the diseased and dysfunctional pathology. We've been tested locally and nationally to ensure that we're retaining at least some of the information. But I think we can all agree that it means more to be a physician than just that. In fact, if you were to ask a patient what it means to be a physician, they're most likely to tell you it's the human aspects that make the physician. I'm not sure what each of you thinks it means to be a physician, but these are a few of my own thoughts on what it means to be a doctor. First is a commitment to service. Medicine is inherently service-oriented. We serve our patients in their quest for health and wellness, using what we've been taught with the means that we have, our minds and our hands. We are called to be at the ready when tragedy strikes, and a safe harbor in times of need. Some of us here are taking service even further by proudly serving in the United States Armed Forces, where you will be courageously caring for service men and women as you both serve and protect our great nation and its citizens. Let us all always remain committed to serving those in need of our help. My second thought is that we all need hope. Our society is constantly hit with a barrage of depressing encounters and evil sights. It's hard for anyone to be hopeful. As future physicians, I've been asked multiple times, how can you do that? I couldn't deal with all the sadness, the loss, and the pain, especially with kids. And my response is, you're right. It's not easy. But it only takes one successful resuscitation in a trauma room, or the defeat of cancer in a 4-year-old against all odds, that make it all worth it. We haven't gone to medical school to learn to be miracle workers, but we participate in miracles every day. We don't promise miracles to our patients, but we must remain hopeful for the successful outcomes for our patients and their families, whatever that outcome may be. Sure, we hope for a cure to cancer, a prevention of Alzheimer's, and so many others. But we can also be hopeful for a peaceful and dignified death of our patients. We can remain hopeful for the healing of broken hearts and wounded families. Let us always remain hopeful for another day to love, another day to care, for each other. Third is a thirst for discovery. We've spent 4 long years, loads of money, and countless hours learning and preparing to become doctors. And that doesn't end tomorrow after our diplomas reach our hands. We've only begun to embark on a long journey of discovery. We must be attentive to the latest treatments, the newest pathological threat, and how to implement scientifically sound strategies into clinical practice. We also must continue to discover who we are becoming and how to become better. Better physicians, better teachers, better spouses, parents, better human beings. Let us always seek to learn and discover that which challenges us, teaches us, and connects us. Finally is compassion for all of God's children. We see our patients at their worst and in some pretty compromising situations. We are invited into their lives to restore health and a sense of well-being. At the most intimate and vulnerable moments, we are there. We share their joy and their celebration at the birth of a child. In the shock and fear of hearing bad news, we sit and we take time answering questions. And in the pain and loss of losing a husband, a wife, a child, a loved one, we share in their tears. We are there in these moments, again, not to work miracles, but to be present, offering compassion through an attentive ear, answered questions, a shoulder to cry on, a word of prayer. You see, it's in these small acts that miracles occur and healing begins. Let us always be full of compassion for our patients, their families, and each other, no matter the situation or circumstance. These are the things that I believe make a great physician and what it means to be a physician. It's not the money or the fame, nor is it the 2 letters that will soon join the end of our name. What does it mean to be a doctor? It means to be a human being committed to serve with an unfading hope and an unending quest for discovery and compassion for all those who need our help. It's not easy, and sure there will be times when we just want to give up. But when you find yourself in a situation where you feel overwhelmed and you're not sure what to do next, stop. Take a breath and realize that you are exactly where you're supposed to be at exactly the right time. Recommit yourself to your patients and your colleagues and be the best human being that happens to be a physician that you can be. Congratulations, colleagues. Many blessings on you, your families, and your friends.
Give me
Good evening. My name is Richard Ogden, and I'm very honored and humbled to be your speaker for the Baccalaureate Gathering 2011 class from the Kansas City University of Medicine and Biosciences. When I prepared this, I looked up the word baccalaureate as used in this context, and I found that it was an inspirational message delivered to a graduating class, which brought two thoughts to mind. Number one, you may be tempted to take up an offering, especially since you've heard the beautiful choir, but there will be no offering taken. The hat has been passed enough over the last 4 years. And point number two, while I still have the podium, I do not come as a preacher, I come as a friend of the class with some very fond memories. I welcome you all, family and friends, distinguished administration, faculty, and my new colleagues, because that's what I consider you. I welcome you to this 125th graduating class. During the past 4 years, I have had a chance to be a part of your growth in osteopathic medicine in many areas. To many of you, those that were lecture goers, I've addressed you I've addressed you collectively. And in small groups, I've been able to interact on a more personal level. In the lab, I've stood in front of you and sometimes right next to you as a mentor, and sometimes actually guided your hands as you learned to examine and take care of the most precious thing your patients will entrust to you, the human body. Still others have had the distinct good fortune of experiencing my OCS practical station and the OMT Faces video, Follies, YouTube featurette is immortalized by one of your classmates, Dr. Rouse. You've learned from flashing and strobing anatomical pathways, and you were all spellbound, I am sure, at the pathos and drama of the on-again, off-again relationship of actin and myosin in the unfolding drama of I was a teenage sarcomere. Thank you, Dr. Stevens, Dr. Carius, for those offerings. Dr. Friedlander himself has exhorted each of us to remember it's easy to treat and diagnose a disease if you think of it. That's enough to make you become a lifelong learner in and of itself. Thank you, Dr. Friedlander, for that admonition. You have learned so many facts and so many skills and so many techniques in the past 4 years, yet I submit to you, your most fertile classroom is yet to come, your patients. Some will be easy to care for. That's a slam dunk. Others are going to be a challenge. But all need exactly what you're on the eve of becoming, osteopathic physicians. It happens tomorrow, people. You've been planning for 4 years. My prayer for you, my colleagues, is embodied in the osteopera hymn that you just heard and created in part by another one of your classmates, John Netton, as you saw him play with Sharika, and wasn't that just a treat to listen to, a true blessing? Warmed my heart. Each of us in our own way recognizes our own finiteness in an infinite higher design. So we have to fashion our own way to decide to whom do we pray and to whom do we turn for help. But truly, all of us will seek for help to become the kind of physicians that our patients demand and need. As the prayer for osteopathy begins, give me eyes to see. A simple request, or certainly seems to be. While we often take this sense for granted, clear vision is truly a blessing and a gift. Every one of you have learned to accomplish a good visual examination of your patients, but indeed, do we ourselves truly see them as people? You've performed an anatomical and physiological evaluation of your patient's ability to see many, many times during your training. But we have to ask ourselves, have we taken the time to really see our patients? A product of their experiences, their fears, their dreams, their hurts, their disappointments, their joys, their hopes for the future. That's truly the plea of our patients. See me. See me for who I am, what I believe, what I need, what I fear, and what I hope you can relieve for me. Please don't just see me as a deficiency or a medical condition, for I am much more than that. I was born with unlimited potential, and I want to be everything I was born to become. I'm a person, mind, body, and spirit. Well, as osteopathic students, you have all seized the opportunity to understand and exemplify the precious skill of seeing the whole person in our standardized patients and the patients in the many clinical volunteer opportunities for which you all have collectively donated many, many thousands of hours of service. As you hear a group that you were participating with while you were in school, I'd like to have you stand. I want to show something to the people who cared enough to come and see you tonight. I want you to stand and listen as you stand, listen for the opportunities where you serve the school and humanity. Do Care Medical Outreach in Guatemala. Feel free to stand. The Dominican Republic Medical Outreach. Many of the local athletic, Boy Scout, and other youth group physical examination and health screenings that were available in school. Local homeless shelters, health screenings, and just simply sitting down and talking to somebody because you were there when someone needed you. Score one for health, performing health screenings on over 12,779 children you all screened during your year. You were doing that. An average of 51 per student in our class. Those kids, some of those, you were the face of a doctor. That's the only doctor they saw that year. In addition to all the other opportunities for serving, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to see, this is an answered prayer of mine for osteopathy, right here. These students, soon to be physicians, they are doing it tomorrow. They're clearly have developed their sense of vision and for the needs of people, and they have the willingness to respond to those needs. They don't just see it, they go, they do. They put feet on words. My prayer is that your vision for the humanness and needs of your patients always remains 20/20, and that you always choose to really see your patients, not as medical conditions, but as people. You may all be seated. Give me hands to heal. You know, the human hand has the most amazing properties. Among other functions, it can deliver a big, friendly handshake that says, "Glad to meet you, my friend, welcome." It can also likewise transmit the message, "You know, I'm afraid and nervous and uncertain. I don't know what to do." The hand is truly a veritable conduit of the human spirit. With your hands, you can convey comfort, security, encouragement, sorrow, empathy, regret, solace. Oh, the hand does not have a voice, but it is the great communicator. You've learned to touch patients and practiced and perfected that touch, and in so doing, you have learned to trust your hands as they perceive information about the patient. And with that information, you partner with the person and become part of the healing process. You can determine if the patient is scared, comfortable, in pain, or depressed just with a touch of your hands. You've felt it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You've been there. Without words, you have consoled the small child. Without words, you have convinced the terminally ill elderly patient that they have worth and that someone cares about them. The patient who, by all human reckoning, is nearing life's end has somehow felt reassured and knows that you understand, all through your touch. Always remember the healing touch that you possess, not measurable in a test tube or on a monitoring device, but powerful and present nonetheless. The hymn continues. Let me hear the cries of those in pain. All of you have or soon will witness patients for which there is no earthly cure, whose pain seemingly defines them as a person and defies human description. That pain can surpass the patient's ability to endure it. We pray that we ourselves never suffer that pain, and so we must be sensitive to offer that same humane care to our patients. Pain, you know, comes in all shapes and sizes. It's easy to understand the presence and severity of pain when you're looking at an x-ray of a patient's broken bones or an MRI of a mass which is unfortunately overtaking the individual and causing pain in the process. A more hidden type of pain is that of abuse, neglect, abandonment, betrayal, and so on, and it's just as real, although not always perceived as readily by others, but certainly worthy of its own careful and compassionate type of treatment. As osteopathic physicians, you are equipped to hear the cries of those in pain, and more than that, seek out the reasons for that pain and offer care for that person. Continue to strengthen that most precious sense of hearing and being sensitive, and keep an ear tuned toward the patient, that patient who's in pain and turns to you for relief. Let me speak the words of comfort and strength. Sometimes, you know, our patients will present to us, and eventually we determine that there is no further healing we human physicians can offer. What do you do? Well, we've studied so much about so many things, learned so many facts and techniques, and memorized so many drugs and their actions. What do we offer that patient whose needs defeat our human ability to heal? We have only ourselves and our strength, but that is a powerful combination. You know, the words we say might very well be the defining moment for that person whose hope and faith and strength is faint. While we would never give false hope, no, we can't do that. That's not fair. That's not fair. We would never do that. We can offer true understanding and empathy and convey a message that we will do our best to see that patient through. We will choose our specialists and our care facilities and our hospice services carefully as if our very own loved one were the patient. Truly, our very presence at the bedside, and you all have witnessed this, you have seen this in patients, our very presence at the bedside and the words we choose and the look on our face and the touch of our hand all make for a strong and vital tonic to comfort and strengthen. You've seen it. You know exactly what I'm talking about. May we all continue to offer that comfort and strength to our weakened brothers and sisters, for we ourselves would want that same comfort and strength when ours is growing faint. Fill me with wisdom and compassion too. Interestingly enough, the word compassion comes from Latin root words which mean to co-suffer. Our patients look to us and ask that we understand their pain and misery so that we can intervene and offer advice and help. In a sense, we must co-suffer with our patients so that we can empathize and relate to their plight. And more than co-sufferers, our patients want and need our wisdom and encouragement to face their malady. What do we physicians do when we don't know what to do? What do you do? I hope this next statement is not unsettling to family and friends who are in attendance, but sometimes it's not always clear what we need to do for a patient. Class, you have prepared during these past 4 years to attain the knowledge, and yet you still need and plead for more wisdom in how to use that knowledge. Wisdom, of course, is the application of perceptions and emotions coupled with deep understanding of people, those people's beliefs, their cultures, the events as we, with our patients, strive to determine the best course of action. Wisdom demands that we listen to our patients because they know best their experiences, their expectations, and their own need for empowerment. That we might need to pray for wisdom seems intuitively obvious, but sometimes we physicians, sometimes we forget who does the actual healing. In whatever way we each believe the human body has become the mind, body, spirit triune that it is, we all agree that there is a vital force present within, and we physicians must have the wisdom to come alongside and comfort and help to assist the patient to heal itself. Your patients will study your every gesture, every downturned twitch of the mouth, every weary eyelid that's closed, every slump of our shoulders. In fact, every move we make, they watch us, everything we do. Our deportment, our attitude, our choice of words must speak comfort and show our wisdom in allowing the patient to be a participant and not a bystander in their own care. The acquisition of wisdom, as you will notice, will take you the rest of your life because, of course, our patients never stop teaching the observant physician learner. And when I lay weary, fill me with strength anew. Has anyone informed you yet that you might not be logging 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep every night for the rest of your career? Can we talk? There just might be a baby that can't wait to be born until you've finished sleeping and are more rested and ready for its birth later on in the morning. Trust me. You know that elderly lady who is demented and gasping for air and has unstable vital signs in the ICU? You know, she's not keeping you awake and on your feet just to aggravate you. You know, she doesn't know that you've already been up all night, your child is at home and is ill and is in the care of others, and you have to stay at the hospital at the bedside. There's a young man who's in the emergency department who suffered a horrendous accident and is in the process of breathing his last few breaths with his parents and his young expectant wife at his side. You are bone weary from the day's patient care, and you have 12 more hours to go until you can rest. What do you do? My friends, what you will do is stand by that family and ignore your fatigue, and from somewhere deep inside, you will find and offer comfort to that family, and they will thank you for what you've done. You know, you're going to sleep again, and you're going to rest, and you know what? You'll have the same power for the next new patient who needs you, so we must all pray for strength anew. So in your footsteps I walk, with your love always, to do your blessed work and praise you day by day. Each of us must determine our place in the universe, and I suppose we each must determine in whose footsteps we say we'll walk, and in whose blessed work we will do, and who we will praise day by day. In a religious sense, of course, this daily walk is to follow our own chosen named higher power, God, Allah, Jehovah, for example. All of the major religions focus on love in a non-self-centered and generally self-sacrificing manner. That's not unfamiliar. And now, for those who may choose not to believe in a formalized religion, when we choose simply to live a life and focus on loving people and live a life of selfless giving, then from time to time, giving will be at the expense of our own time and effort and resources. Certainly, the same can be said of us physicians, since we must care for patients who, by their very demeanor, may be seemingly unlovable. Lovingly doing the work of helping people will require an overarching desire to relieve human suffering and help patients heal themselves. We must love them. Why? Because they're human beings. It's fortunate that we humans, we physicians, really do not have more than one day to worry about, because we'd worry about all of them. As you well know, we physicians fix things, and we're pretty busy today fixing whatever is wrong with the other person and sometimes fixing what's wrong with ourselves. You know, yesterday, as we all know, is gone. Tomorrow is yet to come. So today, and only for today, we must praise our higher power for giving us the strength, love, and sometimes just the pure tenacity of hanging on and doing what our patients need, just for today. And so we all pray for eyes to see and hands to heal and our ears tuned acutely to hear the various cries of pain. We pray for words of wisdom and comfort and strength and compassion, and we pray that our physical weariness will be replaced with strength and vigor for just today. And my colleagues, because that's what you are. After you have treated your patient, I want you to step back and reassess to make sure that you have helped the person too. And lastly, if you have reassessed and felt certain you've done your best, then I implore each of you to always remember to reach out your loving and healing hands and lift your patient up to a higher position, and I pray an improved position. I want to thank you very much for allowing me to share some very private thoughts, and I wish each of you the very best success in your personal and professional lives. It has been an honor to have worked with you all, and I pray we will collaborate in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ogden. Please join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you with praise and adoration for bringing us to this day of celebration. You alone have chosen these individuals in your divine wisdom and mercy to study and practice the art of healing, to commit themselves to the prevention of disease, and to watch over the life and death of those created in your image. As we move forward, God, teach us to love, honor, and care for those who come to us for healing and comfort, putting aside our selfish interests. Give us mercy to care for the lonely, the poor, the suffering, and the dying. Help us to be good stewards of our skills and of our society's resources in caring for all patients, rejecting those interventions which serve to end the lives of the unborn and the terminally ill. Guide us as we continue to increase our knowledge and skills and continue to permeate our souls with gentleness, kindness, and patience. May we remain faithful to you in the midst of the journey that lies ahead, so that we may be blessing to our patients, our families, and our communities. Amen.